So good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending on where you are. East Coast people is probably just afternoon. So today we're going to talk about just a few things updates with Andavo Travel and some things coming up. And then we're going to have Brandon talk with us in a little bit about a tool he uses called Asana. It's one of the first things I want to go over, and I'm going to share my screen. Let's see, we can start sharing this. So you guys should now see my screen. This is our newly designed Andavo Vacations website. And what we'll be doing on this website is each month we'll have a different supplier that is a featured supplier. And so this month of May, we have been featuring Belmond. And so we've got different programs that they have done or different promotions that they've want us to do. These will go into the history, and so you will be able to refer back to these. The month of, what's the next month? June is going to be Regent Cruises. So we'll have different communications that you'll see on promotions that are going on or different incentives that are involved with those promotions. So Allie will have more information that she'll put out into our Advisor Digest newsletter. So I suggest you look that over each time that we send that out so that you've got that updated information. The next thing I wanted to go over is invoicing. I had sent out an email earlier this week about invoicing and just want to make sure that everybody is okay with the invoicing. Know where your resources are. If you've got questions with client-based invoicing, Kristen Twitty is your go-to person. But one of the most important reasons for invoicing, and there's two reasons really for invoicing. One is that we can track that booking for commission tracking. If we don't know that that booking exists, we can't get that commission paid out to you. Our commission program is very automated. We have an automated commission matching program. So if you don't have that invoice created, the automated system doesn't work, and then it becomes a manual process for Julie and Kaisa and Michelle. So invoicing for commission tracking is an important thing, but it also helps us with our suppliers and our vendor relations. If we know what bookings are out there and we can have the invoice with the full sale amount, then that helps us in negotiations with our commission programs or incentive programs, co-op monies. There's a lot that goes into that. So the more you can invoice before travel with full information, the better our data is, the better we can support you guys, and the better our accounting team can work. And if anybody has questions regarding to individual invoices, let me know. But again, Kristen Twitty for client base, and then your GDS support teams if you have any questions on invoicing through the GDS. The next piece I have really is to talk about our year-to-date figures. We are on track this year with being about a 15% increase over last year. Some of that is new ICs that we're bringing in. Some of that is, or the majority of that is really you guys in growing your own businesses. We will begin meeting with everyone. We're putting together our review program. So Meredith and I, Seta, Allie, we'll all be getting together with each of you individually to talk about what your goals are for the next year or even the end of 2019 and see where we can work together to help with you in your success. So I'm going to open it up just for a little bit before we move over to Brandon. Does anybody have any questions or comments so far? Anything that you want to bring up? You can unmute or you can type it in the chat box. Virtuoso sent out an email also about Virtuoso Travel Week. This is the first time that they are changing their registration to a now request to attend status. So what they've had in the past is you just register until it sells out. And once it's sold out, you're on a wait list. This year they're getting close to being sold out, so they've closed registration and now they've moved to a request to attend. So if you have not fully registered yet, it will be slightly different. I don't know exactly what that process will look like, but we'll keep you posted as we hear more. Just got the question, does Virtuoso have an app or any plans to launch one? They have their website, but not an app. So their website is mobile friendly, thevirtuoso.com. I have launched it from my iPad and have access to a mobile version. You can also scroll all the way to the bottom and select to have the full version. But I don't know of any plans for them to launch an actual app. So right now it is the website, but it is mobile friendly enough to work on an iPad. Have not ever tried it on my cell phone, so I don't know how successful that would be, but certainly on an iPad. Does that answer your questions, Lisa? If not, just chat in there a little bit more. Andavo Mart is coming up in October. We will have the registration open up probably beginning of August, and we will be in Denver at the Four Seasons and planning a great weekend for everyone. We are going to have another best practices panel, so I'll put a survey out here pretty soon to get your feedback on questions that you'd like to see in that best practices. And I think those are all the updates I have for right now. Oh, great, Lisa, thanks. Okay, so you have good clients asking if there's an app that they can search from their phones. You might just try it yourself to see if on your phone you can get a good search. I'm kind of feeling like from a phone it's going to be the full site, so it probably won't be a very fluid experience from a phone.
Yeah, it doesn't work well on the phone,
Okay.
Unfortunately. It does on the iPad, but not on the phone.
Not on the phone. Yeah, that's what I was saying, because it would just be too large of an image to try to view from your phone. But thanks, Lisa.
When we were at Virtuous on the road, we did talk to Tim, and he said that they're working on a mobile, like a phone mobile-friendly browser for Virtuoso, and said it's one of their top priorities for this year.
Great.
So,
I will submit that as feedback to them to have an app. So they do. Virtuoso is very open to getting feedback from all of us. So that is something that I will definitely send off to Virtuoso. And Brandon, thanks for that update, what you had from the roadshow. So at this point now, Brandon, if you're good, I will go ahead and turn it. Oh, there's a question. Hang on, Brandon. Did someone have a question? Maybe not. All right. So Brandon, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Are you going to be talking, or do you want to show anything?
I actually have a mock Asana board up that I can share on the screen.
Let me get you as the presenter. And you should have, there you go. So everyone, awesome. This is Brandon. He is with one of our independent contractors, Virtual Travel Gurus. And they use a tool called Asana, which is a project management software. As we thought it would be beneficial for you all to see how someone else uses a third-party tool in order to work through some reservations, or they do, this is project management. So I will let Brandon just tell you how they use it.
Yeah, so up until, the last couple of weeks, Nick and I have both been working full time and trying to manage our travel business, which has been challenging. Luckily, as of a couple of weeks ago, we now are just doing the travel business. So life is much easier and less hectic. But back in the day, and we still use Asana, we were at the point where we were forgetting to do things. We were forgetting to follow up with clients. It was just too much. And at times it still is. So we went looking for a solution, and Nick had used Asana some in his marketing career. So we're like, how can we make this work for us with our travel business? And this is kind of what we came up with. And basically, anytime we get an email, phone call, Facebook message for somebody, like this morning, we just got one for somebody wanting to take a trip to Greece next March. We go into Asana and we create essentially just a task. So we did a couple mock ones. This one was for Kirsten wanting to take the Las Vegas trip. So if you click on it, it says she wants a suite for June 13th through 16th. Her preference is the Wynn, but she's willing to look at any other options, and she wants virtuoso amenities. So the nice thing about it is the way that we have our board set up is it basically is just a flow chart. So we start out here where we send the rates or proposal. We probably would send 3 or 4 hotels quotes for what they're looking for. And then we move it over here to the next task, which needs follow-up. So basically at this point, if we haven't heard back from Kirsten in 24 to 48 hours, we'll shoot her an email and say, hey, do you have any questions? Is there anything we can do? Do you want us to look at other hotels, other resorts? And then the next task is to book it. So we would book her trip, and then after that, we would slide it on farther over into needs added to. We have a in-house commission sheet that we keep track of everything, which we do at the same time as we enter everything into client base. And then after that, we'll slide over to send confirmation, contact the hotel about the upgrade. Oh, actually, I lied. There's a separate column, needs added to client base. And then we, at the very end, check in with them all on their trip. And we've actually gotten to the point with Gmail where we do that automatically. We schedule the emails to go out 24 hours before they check in, and then 24 hours after they check in to follow up with them. So.
And now, Brandon, one of the reasons that we had used Asana before is because you can invite different people to your project. So for those that
Absolutely.
work remotely or might have an assistant that is not in the same office as them, they could use this as a project that multiple people can have access to. And if you're assigning send confirmations to your assistant, you've got the booked, and then you could send it over to them to follow up on something.
Yeah, and if you look down here, Nick and I each have our own user ID on here. So like this trip is assigned to me, but this one's assigned to Nick. So it's really easy to assign task in here, and like you can change it at any point in the way. And when you do, it'll actually notify them through the Asana app or through an email that they've been assigned a new task. So it makes it really easy to share the workload and to keep track of where you're at with each client's trip.
Great. And how long have you been using Asana?
We started using it pretty extensively right before Andavo Mart last year. And right before Andavo Mart, there were 2 trips that we just didn't follow up on, that we just like go by the wayside, and we're like, we have to do something. So that's when we came up with this, and it's made a big difference for us. It just kind of reminds us, and it'll send you notifications and emails, and once you give it a due date, like you're going to get a notification that, hey, you need to do this. So it's definitely helped us.
And when I've used Asana in the past, I've had different tasks that I have created in the project. One of the things I had done was have, it would be, and it looks like you might have some tasks lists too, but then, you might have one stage that has 5 tasks that need to be done within that stage. So you can check off each of those things, or you can put a date that it's due.
Yep, absolutely. And the thing that we like about it is you can put notes. So what we'll do is like if our client sends an email back and says, "Hey, instead of going to the Park Hyatt St. Kitts, I'm actually more interested in Shore Club at Turks and Caicos. Can you get me rates?" So we'll throw that into the Asana task just to kind of keep track of where we're at with everything. And then we can move it back. So where we were at needs follow up, we actually would move it back to send rates and proposal as we get the information back from Shore
Okay.
Club.
So it can be very fluid.
Yep, absolutely.
We did get a question. What are the costs associated with the software?
So I think Asana has a premium version. We actually use the free version, and it works very well for us. We haven't found any reason to upgrade. So
you're currently just using the free version, and you have all of the features that
functionality,
you would use, all
correct?
the functionality. Okay. And it's web-based, so you can access this anywhere. If you are in the office, if you're on the road.
Yeah, I mean, we have it on our phone. So, I mean, we use it on the computer. We have the app on our iPhone. So it's pretty easy to. At first, I was a little worried that it was going to create more work than it was worth, just because it does take time to get everything loaded. Nick had used it previously, and I hadn't, and I knew that we were busy anyway. So I was definitely concerned that it was just going to add an extra unnecessary step, but it does. I mean, it takes a couple of extra minutes, but at the same point, I feel like it's helping us not forget things. So
Great, keeping things organized and all those steps. And so then do you have something for when clients return? I know you had a task for while they're on the trip.
we don't, and that's probably one that we should have. And we actually do send them a follow-up email typically, just to check in with them and number one, and to get them to leave a review on Facebook or Google. But that's probably a task that we should add on here to slide it one step farther.
Yeah, because and if you've got, and I think it's great, you've got an automated email that goes out while they're traveling. With the Virtuoso reviews and recommendations, do you put a comment into that they'll be receiving an email after they return and that you'd appreciate their
We
filling in
do.
the survey?
Yep, we do. And that's one of the nice things. The Gmail actually just launched that functionality. It just came out about 2 weeks ago, but they
Great.
now allow you to schedule emails, and we started doing that, and it's worked really nice. Before we were traveling ourselves, I mean, in Europe, trying to remember to send a client an email that, "Hey, we know you're checking in today. How's everything going? Do you need anything from us?" Well, now when we book the reservation and make the confirmation, we actually just go in and schedule that
And schedule
email.
that. Oh, that's great. Another good tip. Uh, I think it is a great way to keep things organized, especially when you're part of a team, but even individually, just to make sure that all those details are attended to. We all have so much that we're working on nowadays that to make sure that everything gets done, and to have the information in an automated fashion so that you don't have to have all of those paper files with you everywhere you're going to know where you're at with different trips. If you're traveling yourself, you still have all of your files with you.
And I hate booking cruises, so it's a good way for me to assign those to Nick.
Very good. You guys have found a great system. I'm glad that this is one that works for you. Thanks for sharing it with us and with
Absolutely.
everybody this month. I think that looking into the Gmail and automating those outbound messages is something that we'll need to look into as well, so we can get some of that out to all of our users that are in a Gmail environment. I think that's a great follow-up for us as well. Well, thank you, Brandon. Does anybody else have any questions for Brandon and how they have used this tool, or if there's any other tools that people have used? We can open it up for questions and comments. We had that Facebook thread about tools for securely collecting and transmitting credit card information. I am scheduling a demo, and I've worked with our accounting team in following up on that. It's Pay. is the one that we were looking at. And so as we get through that demo, I will let you know where our next steps are. There is some setup that we would have to do, but we will work on that. I think it is a great direction for us to go in having a more automated fashion of collecting that credit card information. Thanks, Lisa. And Meredith is asking, Brandon, is there a limit to how many tasks you can have at one time in Asana?
Yeah, with the free version, not that we've seen, we probably have a couple dozen in there right now, and we've never gotten to the point where it won't let us add anymore. So I think the premium version just adds more reporting and more like advanced functionality, but like I said, we haven't found anything that the
It's
free
not been
version doesn't.
limiting at all to you?
Correct.
Okay, great. And Alexandra just asked the question, what made Asana stand out more than other apps? And was the deal breaker in choosing to use that app?
Yeah, so I wasn't super familiar with task management software. Nick had used a couple and he had preferred Asana, so that's the route we went. So I don't have a lot of experience with any of the other ones, but I would say that I do like Asana, so we've been happy with it.
Yeah, and my experience with Asana was that it was pretty user friendly, easy to set up. They had great online tutorials, so it wasn't a big learning curve to get just some basic tasks and projects in place. Have you found any cons with this app? Anything that you wish could have worked better or isn't working for you?
Yeah, I don't think we've have anything on our wish list with Asana. I think it's pretty straightforward, and we're, like I said, we've been pretty happy with it. So yes, so far, no.
Okay, great. Good questions, everybody. And we've got a few more minutes here, so if there are any other questions, either regarding Asana and how Brandon and Nick use that, or just other questions like Lisa had on our credit card information, happy to answer any questions. And again, we are recording this, so we will put it out on our YouTube channel. Hey, we just got another question. Can you automate any social media through it or get notifications for social media?
You cannot. I don't believe it has any integration with social media. We've actually, let me see if I can find it. We've started using a social media tool, and it does cost. But we actually been, so we've tried Hootsuite and TweetDeck and a lot of those in the past, and we've started using Loomly, Loomly, and it is a super extensive social media calendar and also monitors inbound traffic and hashtags and things like that. So if anybody's ever looking for social media software, I'd definitely love to share our experience with it. Nick's been in the social media industry for a long time, and it's probably one of the best tools we've found. So, but like I said, it does cost. So,
okay, there's a cost associated with it. Great, thank you.
So Kirsten, I have a question for you.
Sure.
We're still going back and forth on Virtuoso Travel Week just because that is a long time to be in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. What for some, like we've only been in the industry for a year, like what are the benefits of going?
For me, I think that it is, for one, it can be very overwhelming, especially the first time that you go. The weekend prior, that Saturday and Sunday, is when they have Saturday is the community globetrotting, which is incredibly valuable, especially for those that are subscribed to one of the communities. Greater immersion of training, longer periods of time in small group settings, and really get the additional training for those products or services within those communities. Sunday is the professional development. Great seminars that range from sales or customer service skills to social media, best practices, So there's a lot of different things that they offer in the professional development seminars on Sunday. Monday through Thursday are the appointments, the one-on-one appointments with the suppliers. They've changed it a little bit each year. This year, the morning session, so from about 8 a.m. to noon, when they break for lunch, will be the 4-minute speed dating appointments. The afternoon is the 10-minute matched appointments. So as you're determining if you're going to invest in the week, and it is a very big investment, if having those individual appointments is valuable to you in meeting different suppliers, getting more information, or getting to know usually it's not a general manager that's there, it's the sales manager, someone that is very much responsible for the property though and knows what the Virtuoso program is, and is a good contact for you to have at the property. Many times it is the smaller hotels that are there this week, so they might not have a sales team that can go out and visit different offices or do sales blitzes across the country. So you have access to some of those smaller boutique properties who only come to the U.S. once a year. And so you might not ever see them at any other conference. So very valuable to be able to make those connections. The networking with other advisors is a very big value as well. But if you're looking at the time investment and the financial investment, I would say you'd get more out of the weekend, especially if you're in the communities and doing the globetrotting and the professional development. It's hard for me to say go for just Monday or Tuesday and not stay for Wednesday and Thursday, because as an agency, we do need to have our tables filled all 4 days. And so when I have people that come just for 2 days and not stay the whole week, it's a hardship on the rest of the people that are there all 4 days to make sure those tables are covered.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
But if you're looking at a choice between going to Virtuoso Travel Week or Andavo Mart, I think Andavo Mart's the better one to go to. But
we're definitely coming to Andavo Mart.
But you definitely get to see a more, global selection of the suppliers at Virtuoso Travel Week than we would be able to have at Andavo Mart.
Perfect, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're coming up on 10:30, so that we've just got 1 minute left. I want to not take up everybody's time today. Thank you all for being on our call. And if anybody has any other questions or suggestions for future topics, I'd appreciate those, or any feedback. That would be great. I don't see any other questions that have come through the chat the last couple of minutes, so with that, I will go ahead and sign off. But thank you all for joining. And again, just let me know if there are any topics you want to hear about in the future. Thanks, everybody.